Hello and welcome to another edition of Unpopular Reviews. See, here's the funny thing. I thought that eBoogie was going to start the show, but today I'm starting the show. You know why? Because I am Harvey. And here's the problem, right? So, since I'm Harvey today, unfortunately, Harvey passed away in this movie. I mean, in the previous movie, so he wasn't in this movie. However, the thing that I love about sequels is that this right here was a trilogy, ladies and gentlemen. And in my opinion, clearly the best, very best depiction of Bruce Wayne and Batman. This was genius. I'm so happy that I watched this back. But honestly, I'm talking too much. Let me introduce my co-host today. Joining me.
Why would you run, Bane?
You should be as afraid of him as I am. You don't owe these people anymore. You've given them everything.
Not everything. Not yet. Why didn't you just kill me?
Your punishment must be more severe.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this was incredible. Now, joining me this evening is none other than the executive consultant, eBoogie, and
that's the perfect way for her to be introduced. Making that fucking face.
None other than around the way, Mr. Mike Knox.
He's around the way now. He's LL Cool J.
LL Cool J, baby. Around the block.
Around the block. That's what I meant to say. My bad. You know what I mean? Like, y'all put me on the spot.
He's around the way. I asked you specifically.
Around the block.
I asked you specifically. I said, do you remember what's going on? Do you know what's going on? Yes,
here's the thing. Here's the thing that happened, right? What happened is that I thought that eBoogie was taking over the mantle. All of a sudden, I got a phone call, and then I was trying to get off the phone call. But anyway, let's start the show because this movie was popping. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this movie was great. But here's the thing. Here's the thing that I love about sequels. What did everybody think about the fact that the movie started off with a homage to Harvey Dent, literally continuing from what happened in the last movie? Literally little details, man. It was like reading a next chapter of a book. I loved it so much, the way this movie started. What'd you guys think?
I thought it. Oh, you know what, Mike? Go ahead and dig in, fella.
Oh, right. Well, didn't know I had background noise. I never have background noise. That's pretty weird that it's me. Anywho, personally, this is to be the best of the trilogy. It's one of the greatest trilogies to me ever made in movies. I mean, I put it up there with Rocky, Lord of the Rings, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but I thought the Return of the Kings was a great ending to the trilogy. And I thought this, to me, while a lot of people love Dark Knight, I feel personally Dark Knight Rises was far superior of a better film. And because it finished the culmination of the first story from Batman Begins, which you guys covered and covered very well, and leading into that, I just thought from everything what the plot was in the first movie with Ra's al Ghul, to me, the second movie kind of forgets that. And the Joker overtakes that entire movie. Such a great role by Heath Ledger. People forget the story plot of that movie. And just my opinion, I just thought you take Heath Ledger out of that movie, and it's I don't think it would be as spoke about. Like, people will think I'm speaking blasphemous by saying I think that Bane was a better villain, but you said something, Mr. Harvey Vick, on the last show that I thought I wanted to disagree with, and it was Bane was way worse to Gotham. What he did to the police department, what he did to Bruce, he took everything from him, and not even being the real villain, because Ra's al Ghul's daughter was the true villain. And everybody says, well, Batman has no weakness. You know what Batman's weakness is? The pussy. That's his problem. Every time he's in trouble, it's because he's having relations with some girl. You know what I mean? And every single time, how does Batman get got? Because he's, sticking his Bruce Wayne thing and things. But overall, I thought Bane was a better villain. I thought the story was better. I just loved everything about the movie where they lead us hoping and wishing for more. at the end of the movie with how it goes off with where he finds the Bat Cave and everybody goes, is he going to be Robin? Is he going to be Nightwing? Just the whole entire movie in itself to me was just fantastic. Boogie?
You know, you got to unmute.
Totally forgot I was muted. So, yeah, this movie was an impeccable and seamless ending for this arc of Batman films. It definitely took all of the fundamentals that built up the Batman that we most audiences identify with the most and hail as the best of the entire Batman film catalog. Bane as a villain just makes sense. And I feel like it was timely as well during the release. There was something about him that, and a lot of people had mixed feelings about this character too, that felt familiar, like, what's his name? It felt a little bit like how Magneto is like not a bad guy in principles, and is, you know, trying to, and kind of has justified this. I don't know. He has kind of like a Messiah.
That Magneto, that Magneto, that Thanos kind of thing.
Yeah, it has kind of like a Messiah mentality, and he thinks he knows what's right because what his cause is, you know, altruistic overall. But at the same time, it's like the method, the idea that villains have that go this route that are like, oh, let's tear down everything and build anew. They don't really understand how the casualties and impacts that whole idea premise. And you really just cannot build on carnage. And once you get everyone kind of manipulated into thinking that chaos and anarchy is best or better than kind of how the system of which we think and work now and the way that we function now, is like, dismantling everything at once is not the route you want to go. And that is ultimately what makes you a villain. But I thought that he was a really smart villain. And I feel like in the past, Bane hasn't been given much credit in that respect in any iteration. I want to go back to the Bane in Batman and Robin because he was especially moronic. And it was just such a stark difference from this character who was kind of an intellectual, a philosopher, and was a master at kind of manipulating and inspiring people. And the fact that he inspired them to chaos, I mean, was almost just an affect of how genius he was. And the fact that he could match wits with Batman, to me, is what really stands out, because Joker is a great example of a villain from this series because he just doesn't care about the outcome. If he loses, he kind of wins because he pushes Batman to the edge, and eventually, I mean, Batman will like blatantly commit murder, not, you know, allow death to happen, but he would blatantly commit murder and kill Joker. That's a win for Joker. If Batman can't beat Joker and ultimately Joker gets what he wants, then that's one for Joker too. With Bane, it's just is very calculated and orchestrated in a way that it just is so beyond Batman's control that it really just pushes Batman to the brink. But I'll let somebody else jump in if you're feeling thirsty, jumpy. Anybody?
Well, I'm out of water, but let
me add on to this because I feel like there's a lot of praise going on for this movie. This movie doesn't deserve that much praise, right? So, first of all, this is not one of the best. This is not the best trilogy of all time, and that's your opinion. That's fine. That's not my opinion because I feel like this movie actually takes away from the first two movies, which were phenomenal and great. This movie actually started to take a downturn for me, not because of Bane. Bane was a phenomenal villain, not because of Talia al Ghul. She was where she did what she had to do. It was just a little bit droll, a little bit boring for me, right? And I wasn't a fan of it. I wasn't a fan of Alfred crying. I wasn't a fan of James Gordon, being in a hospital bed. I wasn't a fan of this Robin or Blake or whatever. He feels like he's a forced character just because they want to have a little bit of a name recognition on there. I just did not like that. I didn't mind the Bane being to be tied into the League of Shadows. I mean, that kind of made sense, even though that's not how the storyline is supposed to go. But I mean, I'm fine with that. It doesn't have to be perfect. So it made sense for me from that aspect. I was cool with it. I was good and happy to see Ra's al Ghul make an appearance. But this movie was just long and dull at times because it took an hour just to get a Batman signing because he wanted to walk around with a limp and then he ties himself up and all of a sudden now I'm Batman again. Then we had this stupid little wannabe commissioner. I mean, it was just a lot of characters I felt like were forced in that did not necessarily need to be there. And it kind of took away from getting to the point of where we could have got a little bit faster. And that's why I wasn't like Batman Begins was the shortest of them and it was just a fun ride the entire time. Dark Knight, I said it on Tuesday. Boom, 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 boom. Great. Dark Knight Rises. I saw a ball scene. Right?
I would go against that as far as boom, boom.
That's fine. You could go against.
No,
let me
but
finish
like
first.
going.
Let me finish first. I saw a ball scene between Bruce Wayne and Selena Kyle, where it's like you just trying to recreate what they had in Batman Returns. And it was just too freaking long, man. As far as fell asleep. Now, what are you about to tell me, Mike? Because I had to say that while I was in my.
No, I got you. And I know how to get something. You got to get something out your thoughts. I got you. No, just the action part. I felt was I did feel it every single time I thought it was over, and I thought that it was. You talked about, and it's funny because I watched them with you guys during this past week, and I watched this over as well. And the scene where the Joker has the dead body, right, and it smacks on the windowsill at the commissioner's office. This was worse to me when they send in Mega from Power and he gets killed, and then he says, "Make an example out of them." And he has their bodies hung. He has their bodies.
Oh, that was cold. That was cold. I loved it. I loved it.
You know what I mean? And I just thought every aspect, and I thought out of the three, which I love, Batman Begins. I thought that was way more drawn out.
Yo, you stupid, man.
I'm in my zone, man. I'm in my zone. I just 20 minutes ago finished watching. No, it was actually 55 minutes ago. Because then I started watching the Vince McAfee. That's a wrestling reference there, because she forbade us to do wrestling things. I'm being defiant against the authority. But but I just saw Dark Knight Rises and I'm pumped, man, because even though I said it was the weakest of the three, that does not neglect the fact it was a great movie. I watched it again. It's so. Of all three, I watched this movie the least, right? Because it was disappointing me a little bit. But my God, Bane, if you in that microphonic voice did not impress me, man, did not impress me from the time you got on the plane until you had your mask taken off and you started acting like Kylo Ren. And in case anybody needs to know what I mean by Kylo Ren, I'm going to put up a picture of how I feel about Kylo Ren when the mask is taken off. There it is right there. Right?
Really?
A bitch. Yes.
From like Legally Blonde?
Yes, a bitch.
Isn't the dog from Legally Blonde?
I have no idea. I've never seen Legally Blonde, but of course you've seen everything. I'm about to make you a permanent cast member because you've seen every fucking movie, Mike Nice. Get some sun. It's like you've been in the pit for 6 months.
Listen, get some sun. You're going to go see Batman tonight. He's going to come out the sun tonight, baby. Okay. Another reason why this movie's great. This is the only Batman film ever where the majority of the movie's in the damn daytime. You never see a Batman movie where it's not the Dark Knight. I don't care what Batman movie it is. I will say
the last fight scene was in the daytime, and when I saw it again, I was like, wow, that's surprising. That's surprising. Right. The Dark Knight's in the daytime?
So
that shows how much he's been castrated. That shows how much he's been castrated by putting the pussy on the pedestal. Because if it was any other time, they would have been fighting at night. So, Mike Knox, you hit the nail right on the head. But I don't want to hear from you anymore. I don't want to hear from you anymore, Mike Knox. I want to hear from one man. I want to hear from...
Because here's the thing, and that's the thing. All right, here's the thing. I mean, the other thing I liked it. Anyway, I talk too much. That is hilarious. Thank you very much. So now, when it comes to this trilogy right here, I am very happy that I saw it this way. Why? There was no time in between. I didn't have to remember anything. I saw everything fresh and clear, and it felt like watching episodes. It is so good. Everything was connected. The main moral to the story is, why do we fall? So we can get back up. That is so memorable to anybody who saw this. The other thing that I liked is this is the first time that we ever necessarily see Bruce Wayne in such a vulnerable state. When the hell does Bruce Wayne lose all of his money? You never see him that way. the level of ingenuity that he had to come up with after the fact was amazing. And the fact that he probably even thought of that, of what it would be like if somebody were to take all of his funds, because people are consistently trying to take his funds, either on the corporate side or on the criminal side. They're trying to take his funds. So the fact that for somebody that's a fan of Batman and just a fan of the idea of a guy with a lot of money and all of this fucking tech and all of this stuff, it was just amazing to me. Why? Because every single time it's just something great. You know, I would love to have the money to have like a utility belt and then press a button and be all Inspector Gadget. Like, it's just awesome. You know what I mean? And when it came to the villains, I think that this girl, when she came and stabbed Bruce Wayne, I was shocked. You know why? Because previous to that, you saw her as like the ultimate good girl. He even used her for help and all of that. Like, that was just genius. You know what I mean? And it kind of rolls back to the first movie where, you know, he where Bruce is never mindful of his environment, like Ra's al Ghul always said. You know what I mean? And the fact that Ra's al Ghul was even brought into this again and everything was just full circle, it just makes this amazing. It really does. And mind you, the fact that we saw the Michael Keaton movies and all the other movies, and after watching this, especially now, what's gonna happen tomorrow and what's coming up now, oh man, big shoes to fill. Big shoes to fill, man. I mean, there's gonna be a couple of movies here, and I know that this is for the Gen Zs, but wow. The millennials, I gotta say, the millennials got it. Because mind you, I'm a Michael Keaton guy, but yo, after watching this, the millennials got it. I'm sorry. From the years of 2000, when was the first movie? 2002, and then it was 10 years, 2002 to 2012, right?
2005.
These three movies, 2005 to 2012. Yeah,
It can't be their movie. We're still here, so technically they're still off our. You know, you
No,
can't.
what
have,
I'm saying,
it can't be
this
not
is my
mine
point.
if I'm still here watching.
This is my point. My point is this: like every time this is what I think, at least. Every
He's
single
their
time they
star.
do a Batman, or they revamp somebody, it's for the young generation. You know what I mean? Just like wrestling, like Ricochet is not for us. You understand? You know what I mean? Like, that's what I mean. Like, that's my thing. Like, that's why, like, this new Batman that's coming out, it's not for, you know,
It's the same generation.
Like it's not for people who with AOL emails. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, you know what I mean? It's for people that like have TikToks only. You feel me?
Rob Pattinson is not our star. You know what I mean? Like, he was groomed for these kind of dark side stoic roles or from early on, and he was, you know, blasted into his fame playing a YA character. So it's like for tweens. You know what I'm saying? But
I mean, I feel like
Batfleck was good. Batfleck was good.
Still my favorite Batman.
Batfleck was for us, but
he's my favorite Batman.
I mean, come on, the writing wasn't.
Wait,
really
is there a standalone movie?
No, and it looks like it's not.
Does it really count?
Yes, it still counts.
No, I mean, like, no, because it's all Justice League whenever he's around, and like, or BVS or something. It's when he's around, it's a group dynamic.
They figured that that he was big enough. DC bet on something that was them going off of the biggest superheroes in the world, and didn't feel that you know, that's another story, because I personally like BVS.
Yeah, no, the storyline is good, but you see, look, what I appreciate about this Batman is that it's about Batman. It's not about the actor. You feel what I mean? With everybody else,
any of it was about the actor.
No, but the thing about it is that a lot of it is centered around the actor. You know what I mean? With this guy right here, no, this storytelling,
I hate this Batman.
Telling you,
I hate the fact that he talks like Bane already knows who you are, and you're so like,
Oh yeah, no, the thing
I hated
about his
that.
mouth,
I'm not
his
very
mouthpiece.
You never know
His
who's
mouthpiece
around.
annoyed the shit out of me. I'm not gonna lie.
I hated that.
And the way he talked word. I was like,
They had to dub every line with him because it came across so muffled. That's why
Right.
it always projected so well.
I
You know,
hated
but it was
it.
funny
He
because
looked
the
like he was
command.
doing it.
Let me see.
But I hear
Looks like you
Pattinson-
got some stuff for us. I
You
want to
know,
get
I'm
into
excited
it
about Patterson. though.
after.
What's
not.
the?
I saw some pictures, so I thought you were going to go do your thing.
Nah, those are old.
Those are old. Oh, that's so disappointing.
I mean, you know.
Can I-
what it
It's not
was?
real
Isn't
fast.
it?
Say something about
Yeah.
this movie because you mentioned something, Vic, and you mentioned something too, executive
It's all
consultant.
about
And
not Robert Pattinson.
no, and you mentioned the difference in the two movies, right? And I tell you, I pay attention to a lot of details when it comes to film. It's the studio production major in me. I don't like any TV show that I can automatically zero out who's going to turn or who's a bad guy or, oh, why did they zoom in or focus on that person's face that way? They never did this in this movie when it came to Ra's al Ghul's daughter, not once. So when you talk about that scene, Harvey, and she stabs him, and he looks at her like, what the? Because they not once in this entire movie did Christopher Nolan give away she was any way a part of this.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Where when you look at what was the detective, she's also in Power, the woman when they drove Gale away, and she knew that they were the bad cops. You knew they were bad cops in Batman and Dark Knight Rises, in Dark Knight, because they zoomed in on let you know, oh well, she did something, he did something. In this one, they gave nothing away about anything, including only thing said about this movie is my man who Commissioner Gordon talks out of coming out of his house and dies. Like you know what I'm saying? Your wife
I
told
will
you to
say
stay
this:
in the
when she
house.
was casted, the rumors were that she was going to play Talia al Ghul.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the thing is, and you know, because I wasn't smart, so when I was watching the movie, I completely forgot that was the rumor that she was going to play Talia al Ghul. So when it happened, I'm like, oh shit, I should have known. I felt so stupid, right? And there was one scene, I don't know when y'all watched Dark Knight Rises. Like I said, I just watched it.
I just got finished watching it.
Where they were storming City Hall, and she's in there, and there's like the bodyguards next to her, and you could tell she's big boss villain. And I don't understand why when I first saw it, I could not tell she does not look like a hostage at all, right? Mm-hmm. But they played it off very well. So shout out to Christopher Nolan. He's never really made a bad movie that he's directed. He's usually made nothing but good. But we're a little pressed for time, so I'm just gonna go and jump right into it.
I know who I am. I'm a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude.
Remember, with great power comes great responsibility. I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
King Kong ain't got shit on me!
You want answers!
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Why so serious?
Bond. James Bond.
Show me the money!
Quat.
One of the arguments I used to have with
every time
with this movie was always, who was a better villain? Was it Bane or was it Joker? And I used to always say
Bane.
Who had the most quotes? Was it Bane. Or was it Joker?
Bane.
We're going to judge this today. I still say Joker, but that does not mean that Bane did not have some killer lines in here.
Can't take you serious with glasses on.
Well, it's all for a reason. Shut up. I can't take you serious with COVID. Look. All right, so look.
With COVID? Wow.
I can't take you serious. Now, this isn't a Bane line, but I thought it was really good because I thought it was really impactful going into him trying to go off and kill himself, right? A hero could be anyone, even a man doing something as simple as reassuring is putting a coat around a young boy's shoulders to let him know that the world had it in it. What he's trying to say is, you are responsible for me, because in that moment I knew that there was good in this world and I appreciate you for that. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was very touching. So I wanted to shout that out there. This is something I say to people when I'm playing them Super Smash Bros. We will destroy Gotham, and then when it's done and Gotham is in ashes, then you have my permission to die. I want to savor your torture in Super Smash Bros. Before I kill you, right? That's what I say to you. That's the trash talking I do to you. Then you have my permission to die because you can't beat me. This line is so funny. I used to use this at work. I wish James was here because he used to see me do this all the time. When somebody's talking froggy, right? Let's say E Boogie's coming out. She's talking froggy, right? You put your hand on her shoulder and you say, "Do you feel in charge?"
Facts.
Do you feel in charge?
Mm.
Look at her over there. Like, see, look at her.
I'm in charge of myself.
There you go.
My conduct, unlike others.
Okay. Anyway, and then the whole scene, which is in Mike Knox's background there. Let us not stand on ceremony, Mr. Wayne. I loved it as he's talking to him. And this is how I feel when somebody's giving me the bullshit. They come to me and they're like, Chris, blah, 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 you beat around the bush. Let's not stand on ceremony. Let's get to the nitty gritty so I can tell you why you're wrong and I'm right. Right? That's that. Then this one I liked it. Why are you here? I ask this every time somebody shows up in my apartment. I ask this question anytime somebody comes into my office, right? Mike not calls me while I'm at work all the time. I'm pretty sure he's heard me say something like this.
I have.
Why are you here? Right? Because I don't understand why you're in my presence. It's annoying, but whatever. Anyway, those are the quotes I had. I loved it. I love Bane. I thought Bane was good. I like the Joker better, but that does not mean Bane's not that man, right? I like Thanos.
No,
Liking
Joker better don't mean that Joker had better lines.
I think Joker had better lines because I think Joker's entire script was just a lie to me. From I killed the bus boy or something like that to why so serious. I believe whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Strangers.
Bane started the movie off and said, "Don't scream now, doctor. That comes later." And then later kills him in front of the world. What he says, "Who can undo this bomb?"
Now's not the time for fear. That comes later. His first line was, perhaps they would like to know why you would shoot somebody before you throw them off a plane. Yeah. So Bane has some killer lines, but in my opinion, I just think Joker has better. And if you're watching this, and once again, this is just our opinions. Neither one is right. Neither one is wrong. If you sit here and tell me Bane, I'm not going to sit here and completely tell you you're wrong. Despite my character,
you can't go wrong with either one of the villains.
He has some good lines. You know what I'm saying? I can't deny that. But tell me your opinion if you watch on YouTube or Facebook. Tell us in the comments. I would like to know your opinion. Who had the better lines? Ron runs our Instagram. Put it in the Instagram story. Who has the better lines? Was it Bane?
They're not gonna vote Bane. People hate Bane.
Nah, I mean, if Heath Ledger wasn't dead, then I think it would be more fair. But the reality of the situation is that long term, it was more impactful because he died. And honestly, like, he did a hell of a showing in that character. But when it comes to Bane, I feel like Bane was more impactful to Gotham because look, blew up bridges, cut off money, did all of this stuff. You know what I mean? I feel like he was a better bad guy, but as far as where the audience is concerned, I feel like Joker is way more effective. And his death might be it, or it might but at the same time we have to remember this. When we think of Batman, Joker is the yang of the yin of what Batman is. You know what I mean? Joker literally is
Superman. Right?
Yes, you know what I'm saying? Joker, like playing that role. People talk about Jack Nicholson talking to him about playing that role and things like that. Like nobody mentions that when it comes to Bane. You know what I mean? Yes, Bane is a memorable character, but clearly this is a very different Bane from what was in the cartoons. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And this is why I disagree with E a little bit. She's completely correct when you talk about the live action adaptations of Bane. None of them is able to get him to have the respect that he did have in Dark Knight Rises. In the animated series, though, he had a lot of respect. It's just that what you really think about is the 1997 Batman Robin, where they treated him like a joke. You know, a complete joke. So I mean,
the WB version of the 2000s Batman's my favorite cartoon of Batman, and I thought that Bane showed a lot more.
You talking about the Batman?
The Batman that came on WB. Yeah,
that's why you want to see this more.
No, I actually that's my favorite Batman cartoon more than the animated series.
What?
I did. I think the animated series is a little overrated. Like nothing against, again, like talking about Heath Ledger passing. I think if Heath Ledger doesn't die, not saying he didn't play a great role, it just fans today are just different people, and they just give things away because of right. And again, taking nothing from, there's nothing bad to say about Heath Ledger's Joker, absolutely nothing at all. But I think because of that role, this movie gets no credit. Bane gets no credit. His one-liners gets no credit. You were born in it. You turned the lights off.
I was born in it. The darkness is your ally.
Now here's the other thing, though.
The shadows turned their backs on you, bruh. This is nothing to me.
I was wondering what's going to break first.
Now
your body. And then when you see him in the prison, the boy ties him up. He goes, ah! I just laugh every time because he broke his whole damn back. You know what I'm saying? Like, he destroys this movie from the beginning to the end. I love this film. I've watched this movie. Well, that's not fair. I watched both, Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises probably about 100 times each. I have the DVD trilogy. I will turn them on to turn them on.
Now I'll tell you one thing though. They spent a lot more money on Bane. Why do I say that? I was shocked.
I love
I
you,
was
Victor. You always
shocked.
teach it.
No. Here's the thing. I was shocked.
Why do
I
say
was
that?
shocked. No, because look. They had shots of the stock exchange. They had shots of Federal Hall. They had cops on top of Federal Hall. They had cops inside of motherfucking Federal Hall, of all places, the place where George Washington was inaugurated. You know how much money you need to spend to get the licensing for all of that shit? Like, they spent a ton of money and a ton of time in fucking Wall Street.
It was
I
definitely
was
the most
shocked.
expensive Batman
And
movie.
mind you, this wasn't
negatives
like,
about Batman to me. When
like,
they got rid of Gotham City.
yeah, no, they really captured. And mind you, like, there was. And here's the
Dark
funny
Knight
thing:
was Chicago, and Dark Knight Rises was Chicago and Pittsburgh. I think it ruined Gotham as a whole. Of you go to Batman Begins, that's Gotham. You look at Keaton's Batman, that's Gotham. What we're going to see this week with the Batman, that's Gotham. I didn't like that they took Gotham away when that's really the zombie in the room, right? It's how bad Gotham is, and you give me bright Chicago. That's the only negative.
But this was definitely New York. Like,
no,
I
it wasn't.
see it
Go
in
watch
the
it. It was not. It was filmed in
Yeah,
Chicago and
no,
Pittsburgh.
not this, man. Because I could even see the plaque.
I'm
of
trying
Federal
to tell
Hall.
you where it was filmed at, brother. You can Google it. It was filmed in. It was filmed in all three cities, but it was mainly filmed in Chicago.
No, I'm just saying, like,
so much. You can't tell New Yorker nothing.
No, the fact is, because here's the thing.
There's always a thing.
Right? If they didn't film it here, then they spent a lot of money for no reason recreating that whole thing. They didn't have to go that detailed.
Well,
they really didn't. They didn't have to go and film Federal
They
Hall.
filmed Avengers in Atlanta.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
I hate to cut you all off, but we are so pressed for time. We're going to run this commercial break, find out we're reviewing next Tuesday and Thursday in our new month of movies. So we'll be right back and get into our final thoughts. Stay with us. You're watching Unpopular Review.
Maybe we're not so different. Who are you under there?
I'm vengeance.
What's black and blue and dead all over?
I gotta shit. These are my coworkers. Jobs, please. What if somebody calls the cops and says what? I spent $5,000 at a strip club. Send help. Hammer time. I was born to flex. Diamonds on my neck. I like boarding jets. I like more than sex. But nothing in this world. I like more than sex. We didn't do anything.
All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Unpopular Review Entertainment, talking about The Dark Knight Rises, which is to date the longest running Batman movie until tomorrow when the Batman comes out, which is about 12 minutes longer. So I'm really interested in seeing that. But let's go ahead into our final thoughts. We'll start off with Boog. It's been amazingly quiet.
Amazingly. Okay. Well, I think this movie was really great. Like I said, a great way to end this chapter. The movies from this era were very like spring, summer, fall of Batman's life. And I love that. I love that we see different parts of his life, like him kind of coming of age and having a cause and really fighting for it. And you like can infer that he's, been fighting crime and dealing with stuff in between the films that are obviously are behind the scenes. Like we don't get to see that. But by the time we get to Joker, then we see that he's like especially equipped and like he knows what he's doing. He knows how he operates at this point. Like it's routine for him. But then Joker kind of jolts him into reality. Like he's kind of like, oh, okay, now new type of villain. Got it. And then we get to Bane and it's like kind of murky. Like it murks it up mostly because was under the same mentor. And it's kind of like the anti-Batman thing happening. And I thought that was really excellent. The writing of this era was amazing. The casting was amazing. And Christian Bale definitely opened the door for somebody like Robert Pattinson to follow him up because he's got that same stoic energy of a poor little rich white boy who lost his parents too early. And it's just very on time. Like, I can't wait to see this new movie, and I hope it can measure up at least to the okayest, which is Batman Begins. I give this movie a thumbs up.
All right, Mike Knox.
2 thumbs up. As I said from the beginning, I think it's the best of the trilogy. I think this completely opens up the door for Patterson, which I've said from the beginning of him getting cast in this movie, that if you love Brokeback Joker, because that was the running joke in Hollywood about Heath Ledger playing that role, and look what he did to that role. He shocked everybody. You can see a Twilight Batman, because I think, and from everything I've read, and from people that I know who've seen this movie already, it's been talked that this is their favorite Batman. This is the best Batman movie they've seen since The Dark Knight. You know what I mean? So I never saw failure in this new movie coming out because I didn't see no failure in this one. It's going to take place from this, and I can't wait.
All right,
Harvey Dent.
So no, I mean, I'm sorry, I was looking up all the production. So yeah, they filmed all over the place. But well, no, they did like in here, and in LA, and in Chicago, and then they, and mind you, the one thing that's weird is that they use Trump Tower as Wayne Enterprises.
Is that weird?
Yeah, that is weird. I mean, the building makes sense because of the way the building, but the way the building looks, but I'm just a little disappointed about it. But anyway, final thoughts. This movie was great. Clearly, it gets a thumbs up. It was a sequel. Like, hello, you know my thing. I love sequels. So yeah, before I talk too much and ramble, because look at Chris, right? He's ready to put the rain cloud because he's got to run.
No.
First time he gets to see a movie before me, he should be happy.
I'm done. There's my wife. I gotta go too.
If I didn't have COVID, I'd have saw it at 3:00 this afternoon. So,
you know, he says a word that I'm gonna use. It's okayest, right? But she describes Batman Begins as the okayest of the trilogy, and I disagree. Heavily. In my opinion, it's Batman Begins. Batman Begins. Now, oh shit, let's rewind.
Yeah.
Dark Knight Rises. Okay, The Dark Knight Rises is the okayest of the three. But if I would give it a grade, I'd give it a good B+. I mean, it was a phenomenal movie. Watching it again today, and I was like, wow. It's just like with Batman Returns. I thought Batman Returns was worse than when I saw it again. I was like, actually, it was pretty damn good. Bane was great. One thing I said about The Dark Knight, and this is why I always will appreciate Dark Knight. This is why I disagree with Mike Knox. But like I said, there's no bad answer. No bad answer with Mike Knox, no bad answer with E-Boogie. Maybe Harvey, because apparently he likes any movie that's a sequel. I understand that. But
Jeepers Creepers too.
There's a reason to continue.
I tell you what, another movie I like low key is Silent Hill. It's a video game adaptation of the movie. I loved the first movie, Silent Hill. I was so excited when the sequel came out, Silent Hill 2. Then I saw that shit, and that disregards anything this man ever says about sequel. Silent Hill 2 was garbage. Garbage.
Now that doesn't mean just because there's a sequel.
If you
just
love
because
Silent
there's a
Hill,
continuance doesn't mean it's going to be good,
continuing.
right?
It's a continuance.
always
Get on
good
topic
to
now.
have a continuance.
Get on topic.
Listen, what did you be mad? Listen.
Go ahead.
If all they had was a WrestleMania 1 and not a WrestleMania 38, yeah. If there was only a WrestleMania 1 and not a WrestleMania 38, you'd be upset. Okay, so shoe fly with all of that hate. All right, so now do your final thoughts, hater. Where's the rain cloud?
I will say this, compared to Dark Knight. Dark Knight, I said on Tuesday, I feel like every character played their role very well, and every character did a good job, even though they were somewhat overshadowed by Heath Ledger's Joker, Two-Face, Alfred, Batman, even Rachel Dawes. Whereas this movie, Bane was the clear guy. Batman did a great job, but did everybody else really play their role to the point where it was just as good? That's where, let me delete this before it gets played. But did everybody actually play their part very well? No, I can't say they did. So because of that, though, I still loved it, so it gets a thumbs up. But I just want to let you know why I think Dark Knight's better. But at 4 thumbs up, I don't know what's going on. Can I be a guest with Jennifer Lopez next week? You have to talk to E-Boogie. Hey, Zach, I got a movie for you. It's called The Garbage Pail Kids Movie. I saw that. It's called Twilight. Oh my F and G, the garbage that is the whack movie. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching us here at UPRE. Make sure you join us next Tuesday. We'll be reviewing The Batman, which I believe all four of us will be on. Actually, I'm not sure. Mike, when are you going to see the movie?
I'm going to see it Sunday.
All right, so all four of us will be on. Looking forward to that one. And then next Thursday, it is Women Who Hustles Month. I have to make sure that I say this properly before I get. Okay.
That's why you were supposed to say it, Bug.
Female.
I tried. She won't do it. So she can scold me on air. Go ahead, scold me.
So it's called Ladies Who Hustle.
Go ahead, tell them about it.
There you go.
H-E-S-T-L-E-R.
Ladies Who Hustle. It's all about ladies who grind it out to get their money by any means necessary, and don't let anything hold them back, especially in oppressive patriarchy.
Oh, and my favorite cat girl too, Catwoman.
Oh, you know what? I'm surprised you didn't mention that the entire time because you always said that Anne Hathaway was your favorite.
She's my favorite Catwoman.
I liked her better than I thought I did, but I still have to go with Michelle Pfeiffer.
Listen, I could appreciate how they ended up together. I can appreciate how Alfred saw them together and Bruce didn't really die, and Bruce set up this whole thing where he could end up with Catwoman and they could live happily ever after. That was awesome.
End up with Catwoman. What are you talking about?
Yes, that was her at the table.
In the movie.
That was her at
the
table.
Catwoman?
Yes.
Yeah. You know, I never knew that. As many times I've seen the movie, I never paid attention to that.
Wow.
Ever.
Over your head. Over your head.
That went over my head. That's embarrassing. I got to rewind and watch it. I swear, I never noticed. I thought that was exactly what you just put up there. I thought it was a random generic woman that was up there. I had no idea that was Catwoman.
They actually show her face. See, they actually glimpse.
I didn't pay attention that much to it because I was just looking more at Batman. So I didn't pay attention. I thought it was some random woman. I really did at the cap. I had no idea. I was wondering why when I was watching it. I was like, they're showing everybody, but they never show Catwoman. That's amazing. Okay.
Is it racism or sexism, ladies and gentlemen?
It's an ism.
Why does
we may you tell me, man.
Why does everything have to be sexism? Like there's nothing
you
sexist
tell
about
me. Okay.
Peace.
Ladies Who Hustle Month. Pay attention. We'll be right back on Tuesday, unless they have a Euphoria episode. Or was that just one off? I think it was just one off. We'll be back on Tuesday. Thank you so much for watching us here at UPRE. We will see you next time. Have a good evening.